At 17 years old, I had got a period that ended up lasting for 3 years straight. I've had such a distaste for the medical system for such a long time because they've always just like, oh, you're fat, lose weight, that'll help you with everything. I didn't see a point to go. So I did ignore it for the first year.
Hello, and welcome to today's episode of the Phoenix Perspective Podcast. I am Corey Ray. I'm your host, and I am so glad you are here today. I am having a powerful conversation with Elisabeth Wilt. She is a certified holistic doula and a women's health coach, and she helps women to navigate the important challenges of our cyclical lives, whether it's, through our reproductive years, all the way up through menopause and beyond. She is also a woman who has been on an incredible health journey herself, where she has struggled with her own reproductive health challenges. She also has had many challenges with her weight and medical biases and getting the healthcare that she needs throughout her life. We talk about how important it is to advocate for your health and how healthcare treats people that have obesity. So if you are a woman who has struggled with your weight and has received challenges with getting the kind of healthcare that you need because of your weight, then this is a really important conversation for you. Elisabeth is such a passionate woman, and you will feel her heart throughout our entire conversation. And she has so many unique insights. Even being as young as she is in her mid-20s, she has incredible insights to be able to share with you about loving yourself, putting yourself first, and advocating for your health, especially as a woman. So go ahead and cuddle in here and let's chit chat for the next hour with Elisabeth Vanderweld. Welcome to the Phoenix Perspective Podcast. I'm your host, Corey Ray Kovacs, a registered nurse and reflector in human design on a sole mission to help women like you rise from life's ashes with abundant energy, purpose, and joy. Each week, we'll meet at the intersection of science, soul, and storytelling as we create a bridge between holistic women's health, the sacred feminine, and cyclical wisdom. You'll get tools and insights from experts and guests, helping you to thrive in every area of your life. So go ahead and pull up a chair, grab your favorite crystal or cup of tea, and let's rise like phoenixes together. Hello, Elisabeth. Welcome to the Phoenix Perspective Podcast. I'm happy you're here today.
I'm excited.
I know. It's so great when we start and, there's always that little time when we're connecting and talking about so many juicy things, especially when it comes to wombs and periods and just loving on yourself. And I know this conversation is going to go somewhere fantastically magical, and I can't wait. Inquiring minds want to know, where are you approximately in your cycle right now?
I would probably say early to mid follicular phase.
Ooh, okay. So what's the energy? What are you kind of feeling right now?
I'm kind of pumped. I mean, we're really cold right now, so I'm a little slow from like how cold it is outside, but I am pretty like pumped, ready to go with some things. So been in a little bit of a planning.
You're up in northern Canada, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're almost like minus 40 Fahrenheit for those inquiring.
Ooh, girl. Down here in Indiana right now, we have a snowstorm that's coming through. And for where we are, down in the middle of the States, it's quite a bit of snow that the middle of the country is going to be expecting right now. But I mean, for you guys, that's probably just like a typical Tuesday. You look out and you're like, oh, it's a foot of snow. All right, I'm going to go get my mail and my coffee.
I used to live closer to Ontario, so I was closer to like the border between like Niagara Falls, right? America and Canada. And we never got it that cold here. So when we decided to move here, we knew it was going to be cold, but you don't know it's going to be cold till you experience it. You never knew like, oh, if you've got anything up here, it's frozen. In your nose, it's frozen. Uh, so it's a learning thing. Like you really, if it wasn't repeatable, I could do it once and then
Right.
totally exit.
Right, and be alright with that. Do you find that adapting to the kind of extreme temperatures up there, particularly on the cold side, do you find that you've had to adapt how you live kinda cyclically? Like, as in adapting to the way and the rhythm that you live your life?
As much as I can. I mean, like, with the colder temperatures, I notice I slow down. It's really hard to, like, kinda get yourself going. I find the summer, because we have longer, like, darker mornings where our sun sometimes doesn't come up to, like, 9:30, 10 o'clock in the
Mhm.
morning.
Yeah.
So when that happens, I notice I'm much slower. Like, it really like, it doesn't matter where I'm in the cycle, it's, like, slow. I
Yeah.
follow a wise woman who lives about 2.5 hours away from me. And she's like, "You're technically in subarctic levels." We always think, "Oh, you're just, it's not that bad." But actually, when you're talking about it, and so she was mentioning on how, like, that can even cause, like, more thyroid issues and just, like, overall more health. It was an interesting article. I skim read it. I need to, like, sit down and fully read
Yeah.
it to talk more about it.
Yeah.
But
Well, vitamin D is a really big
yes.
challenge, especially up the further north you go, a sunlight exposure you get. And, we don't get vitamin D from our food. We get it from the sun synthesis. So have you found ways to kind of help support yourself during this kind of challenge when you're in the winter times?
Well, I take vitamin D supplements.
Yeah.
That's
That's
just to stay alive.
you must. You must.
Yeah. Well, I kind of didn't even really do it more for the lack of
Mhm.
sun. I started doing it more because I work as a preschool teacher part time, besides doing my doula work. So working with little kids, I'm like, I want anything to protect me from them.
Mhm.
Last year was my own personal hell with the amount of colds and flus I got. So this year I'm like, I love you too. Pat, pat. Please stay there.
Mhm. Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah. So anything you can do to kind of support your immunity is really, really important. And understanding that our bodies need different things. When we're in different seasons,
yes.
our bodies do need different things. It does need a little bit more slowly of movement and not this big expectation. I tell a lot of my clients if they're, working on wanting to let go of some weight or let go of some pounds, like, I let them know, like, "Hey, this time in the wintertime is not a time when your body naturally wants to be doing that." And so you can really create this tension when you're thinking that things are supposed to be different than what they are. And so I love that you're already like, you are seeing the flow and how it's meant to you kinda just are following the rhythms, and, I
I
mean,
mean, if
that
I
makes a
didn't
big
have to
difference.
leave my house right now, I wouldn't. But sadly, we have animals and
Yeah.
they're in the barn. And I don't know who built this barn so far away from the house. But if I could go back in time, I would tell them not put it so far away from the house. I'm like,
Right?
if I could be like a mole and like dig a tunnel to the barn or
Mhm.
something, or if it wasn't like so financially like a pain in the butt to do that, I would. I would not want to walk outside. Like right now, it's like, ooh, my nose is showing just an inch of skin. Okay, that burns.
My chicken coop is only 30 feet from my door, and I'm still fussing, okay? I get it is, when you take care of animals, but, I mean, what a blessing, though,
Yes.
being a homesteader, being able to, uh, really kinda again, like, tune into the cycles and care for animals, and, of course, you also see the life cycles as well. How long have you been a homesteader?
Since we moved here, so
Mhm.
this summer will be 5 years, I think. I'm losing track of time again.
Mm.
Yes, yes, because 2021 summer. So yeah, 5 years. That's
Mhm.
basic math. I should know that.
Right?
I do preschool.
Yes. So, what has kinda changed in your awareness since you became a homesteader, and as far as how nature goes, and how has that kinda changed you?
It's very fascinating to see how the animals are so different and then there's so similarity.
Mhm.
We have 3 cows right now, but we had a 4th one, and sadly in 2024, she ended up with, like, a rare blood cancer, so we had to put her down, unfortunately. But, That was a very interesting thing too. I actually was very blessed to watch her give birth.
Mm,
A lot of my family, were like, "Oh, we'll just head to town, get supplies," and I'm like, but I kind of think she's in labor. I think, and so I just kept running in and out of the house, like, and my dog had went crazy barking because he could hear her mooing. So that's
mhm,
how come I knew to go outside, and I fully stayed with her the process, and it's very fascinating the way they do it compared to us, and so right
mm.
away I just always very curious on that kind of thing. I think it's very interesting.
I wanna talk more about that
Okay.
because the yes, let's stay on this topic for a minute, is giving birth and the difference between animals and people. Now you are a certified doula, correct? Are
Yes.
you
Yeah.
so a birth doula, yeah?
Birth doula, postpartum doula, fertility doula,
Perfect.
and menopause doula.
So, yes, we I love that because doula as a support person through all of these transitions and all of these very, very critical points in our life as women is, I mean, having the support of another woman is very, very important. You know, we lived like that for millennia, and then over the last couple hundred years, after we've medicalized a lot of these natural transitions that we have, the support has gone away, but I feel like there's this reemergence. So I'm so grateful that you are a part of that. We
Thank you.
need doulas, we need them. So but yeah, let's like share kind of your experience witnessing the birth of that calf. You know, we'll just talk about this particular story and perhaps, you know, the contrast, the comparison and contrast that you've seen as a birth doula as well.
I think for me at least, it was the most fascinating was like how she gave birth. Really, she was continuously moving, which is something I always am telling people to do anyway. Um, there was no lying down. I mean, try to lie down if you're close to 1,000 pounds, though. Honestly,
Mhm.
I mean, I've
Yeah.
seen her try to get up a few times. It is tricky. I get it. But really, right away afterwards, she was like licking the calf and then trying to push the calf to the milk bag. Like, it was very interesting kind of process on how that went. And then afterwards, when she had given birth to her placenta, she also ate it. So
Mhm.
I'm
Yep.
like, we always think people are weird if they're doing it now as a human, the amount of conversations I have, but still.
Every animal I have ever seen give birth eats their placenta. There's big reasons for that. I mean, first off, like the first couple of days of, you know, after birth, they're having to replenish their nutrients. They've lost some
Yes.
blood. They're very, very focused on taking care of these very fragile newborns, and they probably can't go out and eat. You know, we have cats, you know, we have barn
Yeah.
cats, and so have had many of cats give birth here on our property. And yeah, they sit there with the babies for the first couple of days. They're not able to get up and go hunt and those things. So that placenta is really important to sustain the milk coming in, to sustain the mother, to replenish some of those things. And it is right, I get it. Like it's very different watching an animal eat it. And I'm not saying that we as people should be eating it raw, like right there. Okay. No, that's not
I mean, I've heard people
but
made it into chocolate. I've heard
yeah,
people have
I
made it
mean,
in chocolate. So who knows?
there's definitely some things, but there is something there. There is something there to that, and, not only that, the stem cells and, you know, for healing, the rich nutrients, the iron, I mean, it's so powerful. So, you know, if you're a listener and you're like, "Oh, this is kinda strange, I've never heard of anybody eating their placenta before," you know, do some research if you're pregnant or expecting or maybe in the future. Take a look at it and see if that's something that would be in alignment for you. It's not in alignment for everybody, and you're not right or wrong for doing it. Just know that when you step into curiosity and see that there may be other ways or there could be some benefits to it, is very important. So you mentioned that, you know, the cow, she was moving, she ate her placenta, she was, you know, licking the baby, taking care of the baby, after the birth. Now talk about some comparison there of, you know, some things that you've witnessed as a doula and how that contrasts with perhaps our nature as well.
Well, I've only unfortunately, because I'm waiting for the day that it does happen, but I've only attended hospital births, and so
Mhm.
right away it is quite common. Just, oh, you know, once you're to the point where you gotta deliver, you're in the bed. And oftentimes, they're not too willing to even let you move then from that standard half sitting I don't know. Like, 9 out of 10 times, people do not want that.
Mhm.
They're not even comfortable doing that, which is right away my big red flag. Because 'cause I'm always like, "If you're not comfortable, only do the things you're wanting to do a little bit." So, I feel like I kind of bump heads a little bit with some people, but in the past few births that I've attended, I've seen, like, the healthcare team be really, like, on it that they can move around, which I've been like, "Yay, gold star, gold star." Because you need that. You need to move around. We're not meant to be I mean, not to compare it, but if you go to the bathroom, that's not a most comfortable position to sit in either, like
We're
so
meant to squat.
exactly. So it's kind of like there's so much more to it, and that's like, with her being a cow, she had the I'm not sitting there like, "Okay, now you gotta go sit
Right,
and do it
right.
this way."
She's just doing what her body is telling her to
Yep,
do. Like, it's an
exactly.
automatic thing, and so many of us have only been exposed to medically managed childbirth and not seen physiological childbirth. You know, I was very fortunate when I grew up. My mom had, 2 babies at home, and I got to see my siblings be born at home, and that was how I grew up. I grew up seeing physiological childbirth. And then my first time I doulaed in a hospital for a friend of mine, and, you know, she had the whole works. She had the Pitocin, which led to the epidural, which led to she was in bed, and it was the strangest moment when they came in and they're like, "Okay, it's time to push." And she's like, "Okay, what do I do?" And it was completely like all those signs that she was interested, like, nothing existed. None of it existed. And it was almost unsettling. It was almost unsettling to me because I had always seen what a woman's actually going through in all of those processes of early labor, then active labor, then transition, and then, when she's pushing and then the afterbirth. Like
Yeah.
seeing all of those processes. And so I think it's really important for women to realize that medically managed childbirth is well, it's just that. It's medically managed. But our bodies have the wisdom and they know what they're doing when we give them the space to be able to function properly or function the way
Yes.
that they were designed to do.
Well, that was the interesting thing is that everyone around me knows that I'm a doula, so I was kind of called, like, her doula. Her name is Lavender. So, "Oh, you were Lavender's doula." And so when she had first got sick from the blood cancer, because we didn't know what it was, um, she pretty much just sat down and never got back up. That was the problem, she couldn't get back up. And so our neighbor had come, he had come help, and so I look like such a fool, but he's been in the cow industry since, like, I before I was born. So I trusted
Mhm.
that he knew more than me. So I go to him and I'm like, "My friend and I were talking," who's another doula, and she's like, "Is it possible that the cow could have postpartum depression?"
Aw.
And he's like he chuckled and he's like, "I've never heard of that before." So he had gone home and I guess asked a few other farmers if they had ever heard of this, and they never
Yeah.
did. And so he's like, "I don't even know if that's possible," but he's like
Mm,
I mean, that's how we eventually when the vet finally did come around to find out that she had the cancer, it was like, "Oh, that was interesting." I gave him a new thought that this is a potential, right,
right.
thing that cows might be going through that we don't even know. So it was a very fascinating moment that I'm like, everybody needs to hear because it was kind of funny and embarrassing and sad at the same time.
I get it though. I mean, when you're trained in that, that's what I went to nursing school for, was to be a
Yeah,
midwife. So when you're trained in birth and to see those signs, and then, you can't help but see the through the filter of birth in that
yeah,
space. It is interesting though, as you start to see those cycles, and then so this beautiful moment that you had with Lavender, right? That was
yep,
the
yep,
cow's name, right?
yes,
You got to be a doula for
yep,
Lavender as she gave birth, and then she gets sick, and then she passes. So it's it's such a it's such a beautiful reminder that birth and death, it's all intertwined. It's all intertwined. And being able to have the honor to witness a birth and witness a death is very sacred.
I never actually experienced any death until I moved here. The
Mhm.
amount of animal life that just really pushes that on you. And
Mhm.
then, like, since being here, like, that's a whole conversation on its own. But I'm good for a while.
Yeah.
I've capped out on that, but
Yeah. It is, I mean, I just experienced it last night. One of my chickens didn't make it through the cold last
I'm
night,
sorry.
and, thank you. It's it is though. I mean, I grew up in the city. I didn't have, I had a few family members pass away when I was younger, but there was a very long time when I didn't have death, and then I moved out here, also moved into a rural area and got a farm, got barn cats, and we lost so many animals in that first couple of years, and it's been steady, and I think it changes you. It changes you. You start to see that none of us are immune to it.
And it goes fast. You don't realize how
Yes.
fast time go until then you're
Yeah.
like, "Oh." I mean, we lost my grandmother last year, in February, and so that was interesting because, you're when you're younger, you're like, "Oh, you still got a while. You still got a while. It's not gonna be a while." And then it happens and you're like, "Oh, that went by really fast." And now it's been a year, and you're like, "Oh, that went by really, really, really fast." And it shows even though she lived for 95 years, how fast it goes. 95 years is nothing really in the grand scheme of
Mhm.
life.
What do you think has been the biggest lesson for you in that? Like, seeing that our lives are very short. How has that changed how you live your life day to day?
Just really, like, I think it's kind of pushed me even further into my belief of, like, who cares what you think? If all of a sudden you said tomorrow, like, "Oh, you know, you really shouldn't do the doula stuff, it hasn't really been panning off." And I'm like, "Well, okay, but I think I'm still gonna keep trying." You kind of live your life for you and less for
Yeah.
other people.
Yeah. Yeah. You start paying attention to the things that bring you joy, that light you
Yeah,
up. And then you start dedicating your time to that. Even if it doesn't exactly bring the money in, right? Because that
yeah,
seems to be the only standard that people want to measure success at or measure happiness at is like, okay, is what you're doing making you money? And it's like, well, why does it have to be that stick? Why can't we find other sticks like, is it helping me be a more kind and compassionate person? Do I feel fulfilled? Do I feel connected? Do I feel like it deepens my spiritual journey or connection to all that is or whatever? There's more to life than just fucking making money.
yes. Yes.
So this whole idea of like it's not panning out, it's like, what does that even fucking mean?
Well, I've had a lot of
Yeah.
things that because so the way I've
Yeah.
marketed my business is that I'm helping women from fertility to menopause and everything in between. And so anytime you talk to people and they have 1 ounce of something to say about your business, always,
Mhm.
it's always like, oh, but you're talking to too many people. There's too many voices, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, fine. But as women, I think we should know the whole picture. There are people who are struggling with infertility. You're gonna get menopause one day. I'm sorry. I'm
Mhm.
not immune to it. Like you said, we're not immune to stuff. It is gonna happen. So why
Yes.
not start learning about it now? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like I'm
Yeah.
25, turning 26 this summer,
Yeah.
and the amount of stuff I know about menopause is things my mother never knew before she went through it.
Nope.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I didn't know it enough to tell her at that time to help her. But I mean, the amount of stuff I know now is going to greater benefit me in 20, 30
Mhm.
years
Absolutely.
when it starts
Yeah.
happening to me. So I feel like as women, we should see the whole picture of women,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah.
And so I've had a lot of pushback against people that think that I'm doing it the wrong way. And I'm kind of like, well, I guess that means I'm onto something because I'm doing it different than you.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, and when it comes to building anything, I feel like authenticity and what is driving you matters more
yeah.
than just following somebody's strategy or like, oh, you got to have a micro niche or you got to,
Oh,
this and that. I will tell you that drives me also bonkers as a reflector in human design and as a person who lives very cyclically. And whatever my niche is in my follicular phase is going to be very different than my niche in luteal phase. Okay.
thank
Because I'm
you.
speaking to different, because I'm experiencing life Right. As a different person. Every single season I walk through every week, I am a different person. And so are you. And so is all of us.
No
And
one on
so,
this earth is a brick wall that is the
no,
same 6 bricks every day. Like, we're not. We
no.
are continuously developing, like, this whole, like, even at 25 that, your brain kinda stays the same way or thing. I'm like, I just found out that apparently with menopause, there's a part of your brain that shrinks that inhibits your fear. Like, so that's why you're, like, more careless
Mm.
when you get older.
Mm.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, "Okay, so nothing is the same." This is a whole thing probably off of topic here, but
Nothing is off topic. I love our
okay,
little tangents. Keep going.
but, like, mainly as people, we are different with each people that we are with. The way I'm talking to you is completely a new version of me when I'm with you, but I am a different version when I'm with my family. I'm a different version with one friend to the next. Like, there is no
Hmm.
just one you, really.
Right.
There's, like, that's a whole thing of multiple personality, but I'm like, we are different people with
Because
different.
we have these, from a scientific perspective, we have mirror neurons. We have neuroplasticity. Our brains are constantly rewiring based on the information that we receive and what we're consuming in, other
Yeah.
places through conversations, mirroring of energy. And then so that's a scientific space, but then also, from an energetic or a spiritual standpoint, you have other facets that are playing that are unseen, plus add in hormones, every single interaction. Like, I guarantee you, if you and I had had this conversation in a week from now, I would be a different person because I would not be in my menstrual portal. You would be a different person because you wouldn't be in your mid follicular. And so that energy, even that's playing here right now,
Yeah.
is different. And so the more we can realize and embrace our cyclical nature, embrace that we are cyclical beings, that we are different, and then move through life embracing that, or even getting curious about who is that person and who am I, and then form this kind of kaleidoscope of beautiful colors and ranges of who we are as a human being, and realize that there is no limit. I believe there's no limit to the kinds of expressions that we can have. It's just the limitations oftentimes are ourselves.
Yes.
Mhm.
That's really the truth.
Yeah.
And
I mean, we limit
it's so
ourselves so
sad.
much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so sad because I think there's also a lot of, like, the negative that we have on ourselves, or that limit, is a lot of what other
Mhm.
people's voices have tricked us, almost, I like to say,
Yep.
into thinking or believing.
We are shaped by the things that we've heard as kids. We are shaped by the media and by the culture. And the thing is that I think the becoming, like, as we get older, as we age, the becoming is not us growing into something that we weren't. It's shedding all of the things that we thought we were, that
Yeah.
somebody told us that we were. And then what is revealed underneath is our truth. Do you find that, like, as you're growing, I mean, in this current season of your life, that there's more shedding maybe that's happening than actual uh discovery or growth?
I think so because, I mean, I've learned recently a lot that I really, really love traveling, interacting with new things, and seeing new stuff. And, I grew up and I was in my bubble. We never really traveled too much. We stayed in that. I mean, in Niagara, you've got a lot of, like, tourism from Niagara Falls. You have everything you could almost desire right there. So I never saw anything outside of that. And then when we decided to move, and I saw there was so much more just driving 3 days, I was like, wow. And so I kind of always knew that I wanted to see more stuff, but I never knew how badly. And then last year, I decided to take more solo trips to speak at women's festivals, and that was amazing. And so, like, this
Mm,
year, knowing I want to do more, like, the goal is to get a passport and then go beyond even Canada. Just like, what else is
beautiful.
out there?
Yeah.
And so my family, some of them are more homebodies. So I was looking at the map sometimes. I just look at Google Maps, just a little fun. I was like, look, if you go through Alaska, how close that is to Russia. I was like, I never knew how close that. My sister's like, well, the map's a lot smaller than real life. And I'm like, I know, but, like, in this sense, we make it out like Russia's this very far, far away place. But
Mhm.
technically, you're actually probably only a 3-day drive and a boat trip
There you
there.
go. Well, and it's that curiosity and sense of adventure that
Yes.
enables you to discover, and I feel like remember all the things that we forgot when we came here. Like, we forgot.
Yeah.
how magnificent we are. And so through discovery and the things that light you up, that's how you see those things. And then you get to express it through your interactions with people. You get to have experiences. You get to, create things or have new insights. And really that is like what I call the vibrant life, is living a life that feels authentic to you. Maybe it doesn't make sense to other people or even the people of origin, like your family.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oftentimes it doesn't make sense to them.
I don't think they're ever supposed to make sense of you.
Really? I mean, the only person really, I mean, honestly, it doesn't even make sense to me half the time of my life when I look back at all of the windings. I was in art and then I joined the military and,
Wow.
was in the Navy for 10 years and then I was an entrepreneur and then I worked in restaurants and then I became a nurse to become a midwife and now, like it just continues to wind and wind and wind.
Multi-passionate.
Right, because
Simple.
we are multifaceted, multi-passionate beings, and the more that we
Yes.
kind of look through that, then the more we get on track, I believe. And that I really would love to know, how did you get into doula work? How did you get into this
Oh,
field?
well, that kind of has to take you back a couple of years, but, I guess I'll start with when I got my first period because I feel like that's kind of my tipping point a little bit. I was 11 years old, and when I got it, I was excited. My grandmother, she's like, "Oh, well, it's all good," and then we went to the mall, and we had to get pads and everything, and I saw my uncle, and I was like, "Guess what? You will never believe what I just got. I got my period," and I was like, "Look, we had to buy these pads," and I was 11 years old. I will say that. I was so excited about it, but and I haven't really shut up about my period since then. I am willingly like, if you wanna talk about it, open for
Yeah,
discussion, always.
yeah.
So, I'm very on the strip everything that's taboo away. I really don't like that word.
Mhm.
Um, so from there, I didn't really get, like, a sex talk, like,
Mm,
like, "Let me tell you the birds and bees." No, my mom brought me to the library. She's like, "Here's a book. Have fun." Well, that wasn't
mm.
just one book I wanted to read. I wanted to read them all. So I pretty much took every book from that library on pregnancy, women's health. I wanted to know it all. And so I say that was kind of my tipping point because from there I kind of was like super fascinated with women's health. And I was like, oh, maybe I'll become a midwife. And then I was like, nah, I don't know if I can. Like, I'm sometimes deer in headlights. And so I don't ever want that to be portrayed in my work either.
Sure.
So I
Yeah.
was like, you know what? Nah, I'm just going to skip that. Wait till I have a bunch of babies. And for a long time, it was going to be 10. I was like, it's got to be 10 or more kids. Like I will have a litter of my own.
I
And
love that.
so, so from there, I ended up having a mom in our local homeschool group that was a doula. And she was posting about a sale that my training organization ended up having. And so at that time, I was in university actually for business. I was going to like really run a thrift store. I really kind of was like on that pathway.
Mhm.
And I kept seeing it and I was like, "Ooh, I don't think I wanna do business." I was kind of already flunking, to be honest, which is funny because I now end up running a business.
Right.
Maybe that's why it's not working out so good, guys.
No, I feel like it was like a passion thing. I mean,
Yes,
really, we put our energy into the things that we're passionate about, and
yes.
that, yeah. So you,
Well,
so you get to this point, and you're like, "That's what I want to do."
yeah. And so when I took that training, I ended up having like a local mom that was like, "Oh, I would totally hire you." And then that went terrible. She ended up being like, "Oh no, you're too young. You don't have children." And she's like, I don't want to hire you anymore. And so
Mm,
like she had already technically hired, but it was kind of like a fire situation. And I was like,
sure.
"Oh, I didn't know that you like had to have kids to do this. Like nobody told me that 18 was too young to." So I was really all of a sudden like really negative about it. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to put a really vague post up on Facebook about me wanting to do my doula stuff and that I would get, like a really, it was $80, I think, that I charged. And I ended up having a woman contact me and she had said, um, oh, I'm interested. I'd love to meet with you. When we met, I tell you, it was like instant connection. Like,
Mhm.
I immediately knew, I was like, "Yes." And so the birth being there, because I ended up going for early labor, so I was with her for, like, 3 days.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
it was the most I still think back with the most fond memories of that moment because that was, like, really a light up session of, like, yes, 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 like, I
This
say
is
it was
what I
the
wanna do.
orgasm of birth work.
Oh, birth work is incredible, and also it's not for everyone. And so the fact that you were there for 3 days on your first time, being a doula for someone, and afterwards was like, "This is it. This is what I wanna do." That it's, a testament, and it shows that this is like a path for you. And I think that's really important for us to recognize that we don't always have everything figured out, especially when we're
Yeah,
young. And, we might have the world tell us that it's not the right fit for us. It's not, oh, that doesn't make sense, or you're inexperienced, or, all of these messages that you were just, talking about, that at that very vulnerable point when we are 18, how much things can change. And then you discovered that, hey, this is the path because it lights me up so freaking much. I want to do this. And being able to do that for days on end, right? Which is it happens. Sometimes babies come on their own time. Is really, really powerful. And it's such a testament that you discovered that so early in your life.
yes. I it was after that that she had made a comment. She was like, "Oh, maybe you get to be there for her birth when she has children." And that right there was a light up moment of like, "Oh my gosh, if I stick with this, there could almost be generational support." And I think
Yeah.
that's what really even fueled me moving into wanting to help just beyond birth and go like
Hmm.
fertility, menopause, to be there for kind of a whole picture. And so that's kind of how everything is played out to lead me to
Hmm.
where I am today a little bit.
It's a beautiful testament to say, hey, when you follow what lights you up, that brings a fulfillment in your life. And yeah, it's sometimes messy, sometimes you don't know everything, but if you continue to discover and continue to look and get curious about what it is that you're here, what it is that your soul is about, what it's here to do, then you can find your path. Rebecca Campbell calls it working your light. You're working your light. You're following what lights you up and then weaving that into your doings and all the things that you're doing on this planet. And that is really, really beautiful message for our listeners for sure. For a long time, I felt like my body was working against me because of years of irregular cycles with polycystic ovarian syndrome. My energy, emotions, and symptoms felt really unpredictable. But one of the things that truly changed my relationship with myself was starting to track my cycles consistently with the Cycles Journal. Just spending 5 minutes a day with my cycles journal helped me to realize these patterns aren't random, they are cyclical, like me. It's helped me to create a roadmap of self care so I could build deeper self trust and a more intentional way of living in a way that fits my busy schedule as a mom, farmer, and business owner. And what I love most about the Cycles Journal is that it's inclusive for anyone wanting to understand and follow their inner rhythms. Whether you're actively cycling, perimenopausal, postmenopausal, or simply wanting to get to know yourself more. If you want to try out the Cycles Journal, you can use my code Sacred Phoenix for 10% off. Just click the link in the episode description to get your copy today. Now, let's get back to the show. So I know that you have struggled a little bit with health things.
Yes.
I'd love to hear how that's impacted your life up to this point, from a reproductive health standpoint and just like an overall health challenge, and how that's colored or painted, a part of the life that you live right now.
Well, I pretty much have been heavier since I've been younger. Like, my mom has told me many stories of, like, she was taking my sister, to the clinic, and then right away, a student nurse had said, "Oh, your other daughter there is really heavy. You need to get." I was 2. I was 2. So, I've always had a lot of down looking on my outside appearance, really, and so that negativity had kind of shaped a lot of my inner youth, from, like, bullying with school and just thinking that, I was not worthy enough to be around. Like, what was the point, you know? I wasn't gonna do anything worthwhile, and this was before doula stuff a little bit. But at 17 years old, I had got a period that ended up lasting for 3 years straight. Literally every day, bleeding every day from day 1, pretty much all the way until January of 2020 when it decided to just quit on its own, and nobody had answers for me. They couldn't tell me what it was. They were like, "Oh, it's not endometriosis, it's not this," and oftentimes it was just like, "You're fat, lose weight." That was that.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so, that's kind of where I started learning more about other medicines, like alternatives to things, because if they didn't have an answer, somebody else had to. I was sure that there's gotta be something out there. So, I was willing to try a little bit of everything. That's how I got into learning about yoni steaming,
Mhm.
and that had worked, but again, I was younger, and so I thought after one time, "Oh, great, it's done."
Yeah.
Consistency is key, guys.
It is. Very
Consistency is
much.
so anyway, I was like, "This doesn't work." Chuck it in a cupboard and ignore it then.
Mhm.
So, I think if I had stuck with that a little bit more, I think that could have helped a lot actually, but, I kind of just had kept trying it, so I finally had saved up enough from summer jobs and things like that, that I was gonna see a naturopath, and I was like, "You know what? Maybe someone in a different field of medicine would be able to take a look at what I'm doing and how they could help me." So when I went in, I did tell her, I was like, "I really want this not to be about my weight. Do not focus on that point. Focus on the actual problem, like the hormones. I want to look into that." And we were trying, and then she was like, "Oh," at that point, I was a little addicted to milk. So I was drinking close to 8 cups a day.
Mm.
So she was like, "That's where I would start. I would cut that out if you can. There's like that holds a lot of estrogen that can hold in your fat cells, etc." So, I gave that up cold turkey. I was like, "I'm willing to try anything at this point." And so
Sure.
then after that visit for a follow-up, then it started to turn more to the weight. "Oh, well, the fat cells hold a lot of estrogen. So, like, that could be the whole reason why you're bleeding. Let's just focus on you trying to lose weight." So it's like, I'm not gonna keep dumping life savings here to go to you when you're only talking on that. There's gotta be something else. Because I've tried losing weight and then it wasn't getting to a point that it was working. It would just come back. So, at that point in 2020, like, we all know what that was, and, I was seeing someone at that time, and I was like, "Oh, okay," and then it went away. And so, I
Mhm.
don't know if it was, like, just having a guy in your vicinity that I was like, "Okay, we gotta be, like, top A-okay," um, but it just stopped, and I've never been able to figure out why that had happened, and then when I was actually doing a pop-up shop with someone for yoni steaming, there was a girl that was about my age who at that time, like, when I started bleeding heavy, that she was also going through it. And I was telling her, I was like, "I didn't stick with yoni steaming, and I feel like it could have helped." Like, that's why I told her, "Stick with it if you can, build the routine, try it." 'Cause, of course, that's why I told her each herb is different, so I don't know which ones would work for you right away, but that's what I would start with looking into right away, dive into that. And I never did hear back from her on how that story went, but immediately my brain lit up in that moment that was like, there are other people that are going through this that
Mhm.
also don't have answers.
Right.
So, it's kind of become like a side hobby of mine that I really wanna learn that why
Mhm.
that happened and how other people are being affected by it. And so I talk about that story a lot because when you tell people, "Oh, I've bled for 3 years straight," they're always shocked because instantly, right away, like that was in the beginning too, and I forgot to mention that, was they wanted to put me on birth control. And I was like, "No, I don't want to get on hormonal birth control. I'm not sexually active. I don't want anything like that. I know that's just a band-aid solution." And I had even knew this before I got into my doula work. So I was really confident in that piece that I could advocate for myself. But a lot of the times there are many other women out there who did get just birth control for this solution. And again, it's just a band-aid. Like, when you
Mhm.
get off it, you're gonna struggle still with the same problem because it never fixed anything.
Yeah.
So, I have
It's
very big curiosities in that.
it is, and it is, certainly bleeding issues and, bleeding for 3 years. First off, if you're a listener and you've experienced it, maybe this is like, that is not normal. So just like that
Yeah.
is our bodies are not meant to do that. Um, and it's it's really important to be vocal about your health, to be that advocate for yourself in your
Yes.
healthcare. And because unfortunately, we do have a Western medical system that uses birth control for every reproductive problem rather than taking a look and seeing what the root causes are, taking a look and saying, what is your insulin doing? What is your thyroid doing? What is, all of these other hormones that have bigger impacts further down that do impact how we process estrogen. What's your liver doing? Yes, of course, the naturopath talking about fat cells and producing estrogen. Yes, that is a part of it, but it's not the whole story. There's many, many other facets. And then that's just the physical piece. We're not even talking about the emotional, mental, and spiritual components that also play a part in our reproductive systems. And that's a part of like where I go with my clients and when I'm speaking to them is exploring, well, what are the other things that are also coming up? Is there grief? I often think about bleeding wombs I call them the weeping wombs. There's a lot of times that there's grief there. There's sometimes even either ancestral sexual trauma or current lifetime sexual trauma that comes up. I mean, there's all of these kind of different facets to things, and not to sit here and like specifically diagnose for you, but it is important to
Look at
explore.
everything.
Yeah, to look at everything that you are not just it's not just about your estrogen and progesterone. Like sometimes we get very reductionist with our health, and we have to realize that there's more to us than just that. And so I love that you did advocate for yourself. You're like, we're seeing that the doctors beforehand and realized like I have to get some other answers, and maybe it wasn't everything, but it was a start. Do you feel like that time of your life when you were bleeding, do you feel like that impacted the relationship you have with your menstrual cycle?
I think a little bit. Sometimes now it's a bit of a fear that it'll come back and stay back a little bit.
Yeah.
So, because it went away on its own, I have no idea why it happened. So, did I fix something or did it just like, oh, okay, we're done for a little while. We'll come back. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like it's kind of its
Yeah.
own little like shadow, I would say, over things.
Yes.
And I actually recently just had a cycle that did last for 15 days, and I was already starting to be like, okay, this is getting longer, but now I know way more about herbal remedies and things like that. So I was right away starting to get on a yarrow tincture and really try to, okay, let's try to help from the outside here a little bit and see if that can stop it. And so that did, I think, work.
Mhm.
But it does leave a little bit of like a, oh, are you coming back to stay for a while? Is something else going on? Because our menstrual cycles are so connected to our bodies that if they're talking so loudly with like that was something there of really I would say a major cry for help, and I wasn't fully paying attention to it for a long time, and I with that there were health repercussions that caused afterwards because I got severe anemia from it. So
Right.
because I did for the first year I was like, oh, okay, maybe this is just something that happens. And so I
Mhm.
did ignore it for the first years. But I think because I've had such a distaste for the medical system for such a long time, because they've always just like, oh, you're fat, lose weight, that'll help you with everything. I didn't see a point to go. So even though the first year was happening, I was like, oh, I don't see a point to go. They're going to tell me the same thing over and over again. I don't need to hear that.
Oh my gosh,
So,
Elizabeth, it's so heavy in the sense of like the weight. It's like we're not even talking about weight of our bodies, like the physical, but it's the
yes.
mental weight of knowing that if I go to the doctor for anything, the first thing they're going to talk about is my weight. And that keeps so many women from getting the care that they need. And it, quite honestly, it infuriates me. It
Yes.
infuriates me as a nurse. It infuriates me as a person who was working in the healthcare system, and granted I'm not working as a nurse currently in a hospital right now bedside, but it is a part of my profession, and I feel like it is such a systemic problem of and some things that I've experienced. I mean, while I was in the military, I heard it because I was struggling with polycystic ovarian syndrome, and we didn't know it. I wasn't diagnosed until I was 28.
Wow.
And so I spent the entire decade struggling with my weight while I was in the military. Like I was supposed to be 150 pounds and I couldn't stay below 160. Like I had to starve myself before these weigh-ins every, and I mean, talk about the way that you feel about your body when
Yeah.
you're under that kind of pressure, like, "Oh, you're gonna lose your job if you don't lose weight." And having a body that struggled with that was really challenging when all they say is like, "Oh, you're having this problem with your hip because of your weight. You're having this problem because you're of your weight. Oh, you're fat. Oh, you're lazy. Oh," and just all of that to say that the more that we speak up for ourselves, the more that we will create this like kind of pushback on the healthcare system. Like, no, I hear you. I hear you what you're saying. And also, I still need care. I still need care. And that is so, so vitally important. And I know so many women, are scared. Like you were bleeding for a year and didn't go to the doctor for a year because you were like, well, they're just gonna talk about my weight.
Yeah.
And that's tragic and quite frankly unacceptable as a healthcare provider. That is completely unacceptable. Not on you, just the fact that they made you feel like that.
Yeah. Well,
I'm not okay with that.
I always think of
My
a
menstrual
story.
rage is showing
Well,
up.
I always think of a story, and I have no idea if it's a fact or fiction kind of thing, but it was always of a plus size woman who went into the hospital for a snake bite. And it was like a poisonous snake bite. And so they go and they're like, oh, you've got really high blood pressure. I think it's because you're heavier. So they kept pointing out different things that were going on with the body, but only looking at the weight. And so at the end of the story, they go, she died. So again, no idea, fact or fiction, but like
Mhm,
that is the case in point. She came in for a single item that really would just be like, hey, if you went in possibly for a snake bite,
mhm.
they'd be like, snake bite, okay, we're gonna do this
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
But because she went in for a snake bite, it was a whole slew of other reasons with her weight
Mhm.
that, yeah. So
And then pointed that to the way, and whether it's a
yeah,
true story or not, it is
yeah,
it's a parable, so to speak, to show that
yeah,
a lot of times that the healthcare industry, they will look through that lens and they will see the the disease of obesity as being the reason why
yeah,
everything else happens, and include like a snake bite. Like those two things are not related at all,
yeah,
but yet they will always look to that lens. And not everybody, right? There are generalizations here. But in order for us to make these changes, we have to have these conversations. We have to be honest about our experiences and share them with others so that way they see that, hey, this is not okay. This treatment is not okay. And it might take time. It might take time to do that, to change the minds of the doctors. But I feel first and foremost what I can do, right? I cannot control everything that they're doing. I cannot
yeah.
control any of that. But I can control how I'm showing up for me and showing up for my body and my needs. And so I was teaching people that is really, really important. And what a I mean, a vulnerable story for you to share.
Well, I was able to go to a naturopath recently because I have been trying to lose just a little bit of weight because I do like to go around doing things. And it's really hard when you tell people, you're like, it's going to take me 10 minutes to walk to that thing over there. So I'll see you. I'll meet you. So I have been on the journey to try to lose some anyway. But when other people get sick and have the flu and they lose 10 pounds, I would gain it. So I've been seeing a lot of like interesting things that I was like, you know what? I'm going to try to look into this a little bit more right now. So I went to a naturopath recently, different area, so completely different naturopath, and she immediately was like, "You're not eating enough
Mhm.
for the size that you're at. You're not meeting even a metabolic rate." She's like, "Your body is constantly in a state of such fight or flight,
Starvation.
almost that it's like you're starving yourself pretty much." And I'm like, "Oh, dang it, I didn't get it like everybody else does. If you starve, usually it's the other way."
Mhm.
Um, so right away, that was a key element that popped out because I was like, my entire life, it's always been eat less, exercise
Yep.
more. There you go.
Yeah.
The answer to
Yep.
it's simple as that, everybody. Always been told, "Oh, that's all you gotta do. That's
Bullshit.
it."
It's not.
So this right here, that was like I would say that played this is right now a
Yeah.
recent development that I was like, that is that element of that one size fits all that is
Mhm.
absolutely there's not a space in this earth that is a one size fit all because of how different we are, how unique, how our bodies are set up. And so that's why I guess I would say to you, if it was as simple as everyone says to just lose weight by eating less and exercising more, I would have already been skinny, guys. So,
Right.
like,
So many of us, the fact of, first let's just point out that that whole trope of eat less, move more was based on science on 20 something males, with athletic bodies, and that's what that research was based on, by the way. Um, and second of all, like women, we have, just talking from like a nervous system perspective and how our bodies adapt to stress, or react to stress, and some of our bodies are more sensitive to stress. And so what stressors are to some people are very, very different to others. And a stressed body is a body that holds on to everything because it's in survival mode. It is in survival mode, and it will just hold on to everything. And I don't think we talk about that enough. That, oh, well, maybe it's not just as simple as eating less and moving more.
well, lately, my message has been, you can stop hoarding now. That's what I tell myself every day. I'm like, you can stop
Mm,
hoarding now. We don't need to keep this.
yeah.
Because,
Yeah.
it feels like a hoarding syndrome almost a little
Mhm.
bit.
Yeah, and that's, I've also been on a journey. I had gained like 90 pounds in 4 years, after during COVID, and from a stress and from an event that happened to me, and it it took a toll on my body, and I'm kind of down about 40 pounds now, and but it's taken a long time, and it's not like a constant line down. It goes up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, and it's this really important space that no matter where we're at, like whether we are actively on a weight loss journey, or if we're trying to reduce our stress, or whatever our wellness goals are, it's important to use the tools that are best for our body. I think it's really important for anyone listening to realize that if this message that they've been getting is the eat less, move more, and it's not working for them, it doesn't mean that there's nothing out there that will work. It just means you got to get curious and find the thing that works for you. It might be
Absolutely.
supplements, it might be, a combination of things, and it might take some time to figure that out, but don't give up. If that's
Yeah,
something that's really important to you, then don't stop. Your body wants you to take care of her, and whatever that looks like for you. And so keep looking, keep searching.
that is absolutely the
Just
truth. Just
yeah.
keep being curious.
Yeah, keep being curious. Keep being curious, and really get to that point where you are putting yourself first. How has that changed for you? Like in this wellness journey for you, how have you realized some of these like behavior patterns or things that have maybe shown up, and has that shifted since you've been on this journey?
Well, I would say recently it's more of been I'm less afraid, I would say, to go to medical care. Like I always say bring a bodyguard if you go into system. So I always bring like my parents or someone from my family with me. But I'm very just clear, like, you know what? I want you to do this thing. Like, this is for me, so you gotta do this thing. Like, I want blood work, that's what I want. I literally went to the doctor recently and I was like, "Hey, I want blood work. That's all I'm here for.
Mhm.
I don't, no offense, need you to tell me anything. Like, I don't need you to tell me this is wrong or that's wrong. I just want blood work because you've got that tool and I don't have access to that unless you give it to me." So
Mhm.
he wrote it down. He wrote down what I
Yep.
wanted, and I mean, I live in a very rural area, so he probably doesn't get put in his place too often.
Yeah.
But
Well, just
he went with
newsflash,
me. He went with me.
doctors work for you. Like
Yes.
I think we need to like I'll say it louder for those on the back. No, doctors work for you. They do.
Exactly.
And I'm not saying that we gotta go in there and be jerks, but
No.
they do. And if you're not getting the care that you deserve, if they're being biased with you, then get another doctor. Like
Yeah.
find someone else who will listen, who will take care of you. There are good doctors out there. There are good nurse practitioners out there. And sometimes you might have to kiss a few frogs to find your prince or princess, okay? But
Eh,
um
I
but
have
it's worth it.
literally kissed frogs, so trust me, I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was a child,
Yes.
I really wanted a prince. I was like, "That's the only way you're gonna get
Oh.
it."
Oh, I love that. I love that. I love kissing frogs. Sounds amazing and sounds like something my daughter would have done as well. So, if there was a woman here who was listening and she's really been struggling maybe with her menstrual cycles or she's struggling with her weight, what would you want to tell her right now?
Ooh, that's really hard. I would probably tell her that you are not alone, that, you know, there is someone out there who will shower you with the love that you need and deserve. You got to love yourself first. It is kind of a true statement, whereas we do need to see that we are special, we are important. And I think when you're in a lot of these spaces with a lot of negativity from the outside world, that it is okay to first start saying, like, hey, I love me for this
Mhm.
reason. And
Yeah.
I had done a very important self-care practice kind of thing in the very beginning on this journey, and I need to actually start redoing it again. But finding the things that you do love about yourself when you go to the mirror. When you say,
Mhm.
"Hey, you know what? I really love the fact that there is this squishy arm here." Um, or, just pointing out your little features. And once you start noticing them yourself and loving on them, then if someone says it to you, then you're kind of like, "Well, I don't really know this person, so I don't care." And and I think that's kind of where the starting point is. And it's very
Yeah.
hard. It's not easy. I will say that right away.
No.
It's
It's
I'm
difficult.
still still,
Yeah.
even though I try so hard, it is still every day your own
Every
little
day.
little battle.
Every day. Your self-love journey it never ends. It never
No.
ends. I think what changed for me was when I started looking at my body as the mate of my soul. Like, I started seeing my body as this partner in my life. Like, my body allows me to see a sunrise. My body allows me to hug my kid. My body allows me to pet my chickens. My body allows me to, uh, just go ride my motorcycle, okay? Like, my body allows me to do all of these things, and if it didn't have my body, then I wouldn't be able to. And so when I wake up with that kind of mind, and I even say thank you before my feet even touch the bed is the first thing, like, I thank my body for keeping me alive. Thank you, heart, for beating. Thank you, lungs, for breathing for me while I was sleeping. Thank you, brain, for letting me sleep. And these kinds of things. And so if it's really hard to like walk into the mirror and say, I love you, or to first go right to the thing that you hate the most about your body, right? It's difficult to go there. So maybe starting in these places that are a little bit more accessible. Maybe it's saying, thank you, hands, for allowing me to write a love note today, or thank you, hair, for looking fly, or whatever, right? Like, whatever it is, you just start at this place wherever you're at. But that journey to self love is going to make the biggest difference when it comes to, you expressing yourself, you expanding, and you feeling fulfilled in your life because love really truly does come from within. It's
Yes.
such a beautiful
Absolutely.
message. It's such a beautiful message, Elizabeth. I love that. Well, I have a little gift for you
Okay.
because you're so fabulous. If you're open to it, I would love to pull an oracle card for you.
Sure.
Would you be open to that?
Yes.
Lovely. Okay, wonderful. Okay, so this is from Rebecca Campbell's Work Your Light deck. I love this deck. It's so beautiful.
Okay.
It's so gorgeous. But really, it's just all about like putting your message out in the world and being authentically you and showing up for yourself. So this is the card that wants to come through today. Ooh, I love this card. This is called Break the Chains. This is all about healing ancestral patterns and rewriting the future. What I see for this card for you is that every choice that you make, you get to write the story of the future for you. You get to show up and you get to decide how this story goes, right? We can't choose all the things, right? There's not all the variables, but you get to choose who you are as the character, as the heroine of your own story. And that as you choose love, you choose truth, you choose your light, you are healing not only yourself and your body, your heart, but you're also healing those kind of ancestral lines, the ancestral patterns of those that have come before you that maybe didn't have the opportunity to love themselves or follow their truth, but um, because they didn't believe they could. So keep leaning into that, keep following this path because there are amazing, extraordinary things for you to experience, to see. And the impact that comes from you following your light is it has ripple effects in the world. And so your light is needed. And keep shining, sister. Keep shining.
Thank you, thank you. I mean, I've had a lot of people tell me that I do have kind of like a bubbly yellow kind of inner light that comes out. So when dealing with people, I always envision that a little bit because people have mentioned that that is part of me. So I
Yes.
guess it's a speaking truth.
Hmm. Yeah, and you get to share all of that in your podcast, right? You also have a podcast called Womb Talk, which, by the way, sounds amazing. Tell me about your podcast a little bit.
It is a space designed for women of all ages. So if you are interested in learning about your body and about so many different things out there that can help us, I can have six of the same people that are nutritionists on, and each one has a different message for you.
Hmm.
And so there is something out there specially for you with it. So it's kind of, I say it's like a library of resources if you're willing to look. We're
Mm,
almost on our fourth season come June.
wow.
I'm still trying to think of what
Congratulations.
our big entryway of it will be, but it's a really fun space and I love the conversations that I get to have on it. And it's really it is for women from fertility all the way to menopause and everything in between.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing to have a resource that you can go to. And maybe you're having, maybe there's a particular problem that you're experiencing, or maybe you're just curious about a particular topic. And there's so many conversations you can have around your cycles, around the different seasons of your life. It sounds like you have great experts on your show, which is amazing. I love
A
that.
wide
I love that so
variety.
much.
Corey Ray will also be joining us hopefully in the future
Yes, that
if
would
she
be
feels
lovely. Stay
just a
tuned for a
quick
future
slide.
a future part 2 conversation with Elizabeth
Yeah.
and Corey. I love it. That would be fantastic, and I think it's any opportunity to talk about periods or talk about cyclical living, I am there for it always, always, always. So, if of course, if you're interested in another podcast that talks about all things women's health, then make sure you check out Womb Talk anywhere that you hear podcasts. And what's any other ways that our listeners can connect with you, Elizabeth?
I'm on social media way too much. All you gotta find is Fruitful Womb Doula. That's literally my handle on almost everything except Reddit because they want an underscore, but I'm pretty sure you type it up, you can
Yeah,
find it.
wonderful.
Um, and I have a YouTube channel, so I post a lot of informational videos there. I have a website, fruitfulwomb.ca. And yeah, I'm sure I've got something that can help you. I always say there's some way I could be of use in your life. So you
Well,
can check me out there.
even if it's not a piece of information, just you speaking your truth and being you is a help because your light matters. Just a reminder, your light
Thank
matters.
you.
It's not always what you do, it's also just your being. And so, yes, go out there, go on Instagram or TikTok, wherever you like to consume your social media, and find Elizabeth on those platforms at Fruitful Womb Doula is where you can find her at. So make sure you send her a follow and connect with her. As we wrap up the show, I would love to just kind of ask you one last question.
Sure.
What do you feel like? Hang on, I'm gonna start over because I wrote my question down and I need to read it.
Okay.
I always get to this part and I'm like, wait, I should read it. I should read it. It's all good. Okay, here we go. Here's the question because it's a new question. All right. So, as we wrap up the show, I would love to know from everything that you've lived and learned so far in your life, what do you believe that women must actively choose if they want to live a vibrant life?
Ooh, that is hard. I think what we said in the beginning about us just finding the thing that makes us the most happy. And it's just noticing the little things that what really lights you up. You only know it if you experience it and then you're like, oh yeah, this is my jam. So the only way you can know it is if you do things. So
Yeah.
make yourself a little bit of a fool by doing the most random of things. And you're like, well, I'm not that great. Well, it doesn't matter. If you like it, then you just keep going with it. Um,
Mhm.
I would say through this work and through just being alive, I have got to experience, even though in 25 years, it's short time, but I've experienced a lot. And the things that light me up, I have come back to do it again. And I'm not great at it all. Not at all.
Mhm.
If you watch a few of my videos, you'll see dang foolery that goes on the internet, especially short form. My brain thinks it's like, let's be cool. Oh, don't do that. So you'll see. There's some funny things out there of me, but it's more of just do what makes you happy. I'm not a great dancer for one, but I
Mhm.
love dancing. I love it. And so
Yes.
anytime there is some old time dance here or anything, and it's like in reasonable driving distance, because here you're driving forever, but
Mhm.
then I just go do it. So I
Mhm.
would just say just try a little bit of everything. You're at a big buffet called life. Try a
Yes.
little bit of everything, and then the things that you'll really love light you up, makes you happy, and you'll just kind of want to wake up a little bit more happier in the morning, knowing
Mm.
that is coming up.
Yes. Ah, that's perfect. Amazing. Wonderful. And I'm cheering because yes, it's like that's what the vibrant life is. It is about doing the things that you love, even if you look silly, even if you're not very good at it. Yeah, just do it because it brings you joy. And that has ripple effects in everything that you do in the most positive way. Yes, I'm celebrating you because you just finished another episode of the Phoenix Perspective podcast. I'm so grateful that we got to spend this time together today. It's really been a blast. If this episode lit up your heart or sparked something inside your soul, please follow the show and share it with a friend who's ready to rise too. Until next moon phase, remember, you are so worthy of living your most vibrant life. I'll see you next time.